Hey guys, my name is Klarsch, and I'm a Delta Chi here at Mizzou studying biology. I'm so excited to be here with you all, and I'm so pumped to share some Christ with you guys tonight. So tonight I'm going to be talking to you all about being bold in your faith life while being Greek. When you think about whether you want to be bold in your faith life or not, think about the Super Bowl. Ever since the fall, the Patriots and the Eagles players have been practicing and rigorously training throughout the whole football season to be the best two teams in football that they could be. Then they finally make it to the Super Bowl. Fans are pouring into the stadium and everyone is so excited to be there. People from all across the nation are turning on their TVs, waiting to see the best football game of the year. And then comes time for the kickoff. But nothing happens. The players don't move onto the field and they just sit in the bench and talk amongst themselves. They spent all this time working and training to be the best two teams in football that they could be, but they don't feel like playing the best game of their lives. If you think about this with your faith, it would be crazy not to share your relationship with God with other people. All that time spent in prayer, in service, in being the best version of yourself. Now, none of that time is wasted, but how could you not share that with your brothers and sisters in your Greek houses? Everyone watching the Super Bowl wanted to see the best football game of the year just as much as your closest friends, your brothers and sisters for life, want to know the best things about you, even if they don't openly say it. So I want to give you guys a quick background on my experience of joining a fraternity because I had a really difficult time when I joined. So after graduating high school, I knew right away that I wanted to be Greek, but I didn't know which house I wanted to join because I didn't really know anything about Greek life at Mizzou. I only knew about Kaya because of my sister. Yes. Okay. But after going through formal rush, I chose Delta Chi without really knowing anything about it. And I didn't know anything about what I was getting myself into. Now, I think that choosing Delta Chi was the best nervously made decision that I've ever made. But actually, for a very long time, I didn't think it was the right choice. I was on the phone with my parents for so many nights, so angry with them for letting me join this fraternity that I didn't know anything about, because I didn't fit in well with everybody and my grades weren't as good as I wanted them to be. It took me almost 10 months to figure out that I was the one making the mistakes. I was holding myself back and not letting anybody know the real me or anything about the best things about myself. I grew in my faith life with God, but I didn't want to tell anybody about it. I was being a pretty good football player, but I didn't want to play in the Super Bowl. Now, sharing your relationship with God with other people is not easy, but I think that the small steps that you can take are actually really simple, especially in a fraternity or sorority. So in the past, I've broken it up into a bunch of smaller steps, so that's what we're going to do when talking about sharing your faith life with other people. But before we get into that, let's figure out what it takes to be bold. It's not actually getting up in front of everyone at dinner and preaching the gospel or praying the rosary. But it's actually being more proud about your relationship with God and being courageous enough to be truthful about it, which is the first step of sharing your faith in your chapters, honesty. And it's ironic because it's the easiest step, even though I was so bad at it freshman year. I went to Mass every week, and I went to a lot of new events, so people started to slowly catch on that I was spending my time somewhere else. But if anybody asked me where I was going on a Sunday night or a Wednesday night, most of the time I would just tell them that I was going to a meeting or I was hanging out with high school friends or something like that. I was so embarrassed because I didn't think it was normal for Greeks to go to Mass, and I had this preconceived notion that Greek life and religion were supposed to be separate. But again, I started asking myself questions. Why was I hiding the best part of myself with the people that I call my brothers? Why was I being like the football players who didn't want to be playing the Super Bowl? The problem with those players was that they weren't being open about some of the best things about themselves with other people. It's so important to understand that our relationship with God is actually the best thing about us. So let that give you energy to share it with your friends. When people ask about your faith life, tell them what's on your heart. Tell them what you believe in, and especially who you believe in, and with energy. Let people know about your love for Christ by not only what you say, but also how you say it. Get excited about it. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, "Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. and surely I am with you always to the very end of the age. Don't let God be forgotten or overlooked by anybody. So another way that I was able to stop lying about Mass was actually understanding the similarities between Greek life and Christianity. Again, I had the preconceived notion that Greek life and having a religious life were supposed to be separate, but it's actually the complete opposite. Not only are they similar, but they actually complement each other, and having dedication to one of them is going to help you have dedication to the other. Being in a Greek house is all about being part of a sisterhood or a brotherhood, and about being leaders on campus. And so when you join a sorority or fraternity, you make friendships and learn all about what it takes to have strong bonds between your sisters and brothers. For example, in Delta Chi, we always learn about accountability and keeping your brothers and the brotherhood of your pledge class as your number one priority. And so it's awesome because I've been able to take what I've learned from Delta Chi and bring it over to my faith community and be better, authentic friends. That being said, being a Christian can also help you be a better fraternity brother or sorority sister. So I went on a leadership conference called SLS in January, and I went to a talk about Catholic leaders, about being a Catholic leader. And throughout the whole talk, the speaker kept emphasizing the fact that Jesus is the absolute best leader to ever exist. Jesus is the best leader to absolutely ever exist. And it's so true. Not only was he a perfect leader when he was alive on earth, but he also has the capacity to have strong fraternal relationships with everyone here, every single person to ever exist on this planet. If we try to live like Jesus, we become better leaders nonetheless, and in this way, we also become better leaders in Greek life. And my favorite part about the honesty step is that it kills two birds with one stone when we're honest about our faith life. So the first thing that it does is in having an honest faith life, you introduce Christ to your friends. Whether it be by what you say about your faith or how you try to act like Christ, you introduce him to other people. And the second thing that happens is that in sharing your faith, you're able to create authentic and true friendships with your friends. You might know someone from going out with them, or being on a committee with them, or being in the same pledge class, but once you introduce Christ to that relationship, you can now know your friends on a deeper level than just from hanging out. So we have the first step of honesty. The second step is to ask your friends into your journey on being a better Christian, invitation. And you can look at this in two ways. One being that when you invite people, you're inviting them into your life even more, and you're also having an invitation into experience Christ's love in ways that you have. So let's first talk about invitation into your life. My all-time favorite example of this is with Leanne Tui and Michael Orr. So if you've ever seen The Blind Side, this is one of my favorite movies. And so it's a whole story about how Michael Orr, the football player, and Leanne Tui became family. So Michael was one of 12, and he grew up with a mother who was addicted to cocaine and a father who was shot when he was really young. And at age 16, he encountered Leanne Tui on the side of the road during his Thanksgiving break, and it was really cold outside, and he was wearing a t-shirt with cut-off shorts. And that night, Leanne ended up taking him home so that he could have a place to stay for that night. But eventually, throughout the entire year, Michael actually stayed over at her house for multiple nights, and eventually legally became a part of the Tui family. And I love thinking about this example in regards to your faith, because yes, Leanne was inviting him to her house a lot, but actually she was really inviting him into her life, into her kid's life, into her husband's life. When you invite your friends to things, whether it be Mass, E3, Greek night, anything, you're inviting them into your life as a Christian. You develop authentic friendships this way, or in other words, friendships in which you both strive to be more like Christ. And so the other way of looking at invitations is by thinking of it in terms of sharing Christ's love with your friends. So I was thinking about this on the way home this weekend. I went home for a volunteer opportunity, and I was driving home. It was like midnight. It was really dumb. And so I scrolled through Spotify and found some great school jams to listen to. It was so great. I was having the time of my life. I was just fist pumping to the music, dancing in the car, and then I started thinking, So How to Love by Lil Wayne came on, and in the middle of the song, I started thinking, what would make this even better? I'm having the best time of my life, what would make this better? And then I thought of the time that I was with some of my high school friends a few summers ago, and we were coming back from Canes, my other home, and we were going back to my house, and we were having the same moment. We were just jamming out to the music, we were listening to Billie Jean, and when we got back to my house, we decided we didn't want to stay. We wanted to just keep driving around. So that's what we did. We just kept listening to music and having the time of our lives. And so I was having just as much fun this weekend as I did that time with my friends a few summers ago. But the thing is, the time with my friends was so much better because I was able to share something I was so happy about with the people that I love. If you think about, if you've never been on Awakenings, that's exactly what happens the whole time. The only thing better than being on fire for Christ is sharing it with other people, and that's what happens on Awakenings. It's a whole weekend of sharing your experience of Christ with other people. And if you need something to compare it to, I always think about Super Hot Fire and his gang. So in this video, if you've never seen it, it's a rap video. And this is Super Hot Fire in the middle, and he goes into a rap battle against this other guy. He only has one friend, and when he's done roasting him, all of his friends just go insane. They start running around all over the place in excitement for Super Hot. And if you look at this video from a religious standpoint, it's actually what it's like when you come off of Awakenings. By the end of the weekend, you feel like you joined an army of people excited about Christ. It's exactly like this. If you think you have a great friend group now, bring Christ into the relationship and this will happen to your friend group. I guarantee it. Being bold in your faith life isn't just telling others of your love for Christ, but it's loving them like Christ. Love the people in your chapters by being honest. Love them by inviting them, and love them by introducing them to Christ. Let's end in prayer. Lord, thank you for bringing us here today. We thank you for the gifts of Greek life and for the people in our chapters. Help us to have the strength and courage to show your love to everyone we encounter tonight and the rest of our time at the zoo, so that we may better serve you as a community of faith. With this we pray, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary,